in heaven, it will not be hard for us, all right, to spot and say, this one came by Y2K. All right, when we're in the glory realm, we'll be able to know those who came 2,000 years after, because there is going to be a badge they are wearing. You better hear me, everybody. All right, Bolo, I hope you are hearing me. All right, if you are caught up into the realm of the spirit right now, it's not be hard for you to know people, all right, that are carriers of God's purpose for year 2020 to 2030. It's not going to be hard at all. All right, why? Because, see, God appointed everything under the sun to a time. Everybody, let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 3. Pastor, so we read Ecclesiastes 3 for me. In as much as I would have loved you to read almost everything, but then let's take it from verse. All right, take it from verse 1 to 15. It's going to be a long read. Just to buttress what I'm speaking. And I want you all to listen clearly. Oh yeah, quickly.
To everything there is a season.
It says to everything there is a season.
And a time to every purpose under the heaven.
Yes.
A time to be born.
Right, now everybody listen. Don't forget I'm teaching on what? Understanding the power of structural alignment. And in the bid for me to make you understand that, so that you can pray accordingly, and so that you can apply your heart unto wisdom accordingly, it's in the bid of doing that. That's why I'm calling all these scriptures out. All right, so that God has finished all of his works. That means I started by saying God is intentional in everything he's doing. Now, for example, let's say I am coming to church to the idea in church today is to rearrange the chairs. All right. When I came in, every one of you can be looking at me, speechless, but then right inside my heart, I know exactly what I want to do. If I say, you, go and get me so number of chairs, you, go and get me a rag, you, go and get me this thing. You can't be like, all you can be saying could have been rags. All right? But in the bid of getting those, maybe getting chairs, or getting raw materials to build a chair, am I communicating? All right? And you go and get the lights on, all right? That's your work, all right? Don't be surprised. All you would ever see is turning the light on, all right? And you can even be there and be careless. And yet, the entire chair, we didn't commence arranging it. Why? Because we needed lightning. But because you don't understand the structure given to you to run, you don't even know what is at stakes. So you can even be playing with wire. You can even be showing somebody, see, I can switch off this wire, switch it on. Imagine among everything that God, apostle will see, he didn't even give me any serious work. He told me, but you don't understand that we came to rearrange the church. All right? And that thing which you are doing, there is supposed to be a time. Maybe this is the program. All right? The end is that this church is, there's a picture of this church I see in my mind. In the program, first, between 6 a.m. to 6:30, 6 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., all right, the generator must be fixed and the lights must be on. All right? Now, we kept quiet, waiting for you to bring the lights on. You were still there playing even till 6:20. All right? You don't understand emergency. And then for your own card, once it was 6:20, your grace is over. Then I'll have to appoint and say, I beg, forget that guy. You, go and do that lights. All right? Now, you have all the grace, you have all the understanding on how to on the lights. All right? In fact, you just notice it is easy for you to play with. Everybody gets scared of sparking lights. Where light is sparking, you smile. You can even hold a wire that has electric. And that's, you are always putting on a show. And yet the lights never came up. The lights never came up. The lights never came up. You were not intentional about any of those skills. Why? Because you lack understanding of structural alignment. Neither do you know the time allotted for that. You all need to know you are in this place for such a time as this. All right? And the first wisdom you need to understand in structural alignment is that God has finished his work. You are not called to actually start anything new. You are called to discover that which has already been. And in your discovery, even though it is in the bit of your discovery, that's why you are in Lagos at such a time as this. And you will make a mess of your being in Lagos now if you don't understand to what intent. And there is a space to that. Right? Why are you not yet married even though you are eligible? There are quantums in God that structurally must be understood before a wife can be entrusted to you. The moment you understand that, you will see the way resources are lavishly poured out. That is the life of a spiritual man. I'm talking to you about the life of a spiritual man. True spiritual man. I'm not just talking about somebody that is a prayer warrior. All right? An unbeliever that is structurally aligned will stand more in mastery, will be useful more to God's kingdom agenda. Though his soul is at stake, but an unbeliever, even though it's a vessel unto dishonor, God will be more intentional. In fact, angels believer, even though it's a vessel unto dishonor, God will be more intentional. In fact, angels will be guiding him in that evil. Because we need... Oh, God. He didn't get what I'm talking about. There are people, what they are doing now could be evil. But God needed that vessel to be running like that. Herod killing all the sons in Egypt was not a coincidence. I mean, in Israel, in the day Jesus was born. All right? There was somebody that needed to fulfill that prophecy. But God, why is it that you want children to die? It's not about children. There are stars when they are released. There are repercussions. All right? And in those repercussions, it generates a kind of thing. And in the wisdom of God, some things, though evil, seemingly bad, must happen. All right? So that's why Amos the prophet will say, shall there be evil in the city and God has not even done it? You will see, even the writer of the book of Proverbs will say there's time for die, there's time for crying, there's time to be born, there's time. Follow me, oh. All right? Now, and you will get to understand that the summary of this all is that in the bid of it, when you understand structural alignments, you can never be found in the wrong book of God. Even if at the age of 70 or even at the age of 50, you have to close your eyes and sleep, you will close with a smile on your face, knowing that, alas, most of the people who call God's general in Africa never even live to 60. One of the most outstanding revival, as far as I'm concerned, all right, is the Welsh revival, and the pioneer of it died at the age of 29. Abi, is it 39 or 29? Evans Robert. Oh yes, Evans Roberts. People were repenting without being in the church wall. People were having encounters. Revival broke beyond the walls of the church. It is the West revival that gave birth to the Azusa revival. All right, William Seymour and some of his went to partake of the fire there and came back to Azusa, and that's how the thing started there. All right, so to me, in fact, the West revival to me is superior to Azusa. You will see people in cold, in underground, nobody preaching to them, and they break into tears and burst into tongues and crying. You will see somebody who just pick up a sound, and before you know it, in less than 30 minutes, the entire street are singing that worship song. Come. If you don't understand structural alignments, you will not be intentional with your life. All right? And if you're not intentional, you will be far from mastery. It's not just enough that you're a pastor. It's not just enough that you're in Kawam. Why must you be saved? Why did I have to preach to you for you to receive Christ? Why are you now in this church? These are questions you must ask Jesus. You know, I have gone through unfamiliar pathways in my life, and then the only confidence that has helped me in those pathways, all right, and made me focus, even when it's not conventional, that's made me stood, all right, that has not made me to run after the ways of Cain or after the ways of Balaam, and made me stay true to the call and consistent with the message of light, is because I understand the power of structural alignment. All right, and those things will kill fame. It will kill self, and yet you will be comfort. You will see the glory of God in the midst of it. That thing will make you automatically not to despise the gates you stand. Neither will it make you to despise the men God has surrounded your life with. There is power in structural understanding. I started by saying, earlier I said, if you go to the realm of the spirit now, when you see men, Abraham does not need to introduce himself. He carries. All right? There are people, go and check it. Go and check people that are your age mates. You will see all of you share one trait in common. That is not common. You want, this is how I usually help people to trace that. Go and check people, check your younger brother, check your younger sister, check all the people in their age group. They share something in common. And then check you and your own. Sometimes you can check your own age group. Almost all of you are short. You just notice somehow. Am I communicating? So you just cover that there's a trait among everybody but you just notice your younger brother has another trait entirely, or your younger sister entirely, and it's not just only him. Everybody within that is circle. Is to make you know that God is not creating every man the same way. God creates men per dispensation, and there's a uniqueness because of the agenda of God, and they carefully crafted every man. There are apostolic generations. You can check your age group. You just notice as though everyone was born that is in ministry around my age group. This is the texture they bring. This is the texture this one brings. For every dispensation, all right, there's a betting. There's a betting of a unique aura. There's just, and usually it's not just by year. Sometimes it's a whole season. So God's finished his works. What makes a man never to lack, whether